And we are back and live with the Vacuous Perspective. I am Val, and I'm joined always by Nate. Was trying to come up with another term for, to describe you again.
I'm all out. We had cyclists last week. Yep. I mean, I'm all out of things.
Organ donor.
Runner.
And runner. There we go. I got one more. We just have to come up with one every week. That's fine.
Yeah.
What's been happening?
Baked a cheesecake.
Yep. All right.
Yep. The oven caught fire.
Oh shit. Okay. Here we fucking go.
Well, it was a burnt Basque cheesecake that I was cooking, so it made complete sense that the oven caught fire.
Yes. Right. The oven burner.
Yeah. I was cooking
cheesecake.
Yeah. I've got a really old oven. It's from probably the 1950s.
Right.
And I was cooking some noodles on top, had this cheesecake in the oven, and it's so old that the light has gone a long time ago.
Okay.
The oven light. And the oven fan even has gone a long time ago. So it's a very silent, very dark place. Had a cheesecake in there.
You basically have two components fail. One I don't think is that important. The other one is probably quite important. Anyway, go on.
What, you think the fan?
I think the fan, yeah.
I think the fan just circulates because you can select fan forced or whatever the other alternative is on fancy
ovens. Which is
ovens.
non-fan, yeah. Which is just nothing.
It seems to cook things anyway.
Right.
And then I'm cooking some noodles. I look down because the stovetop is on top of the oven thing.
Of course.
And then all of a sudden I can hear it. There's light coming out of it. I'm thinking the fan's come back.
The light's working and the fan's
working. Yeah, I was like, it's all happening now. And I realised that the sound is actually the sound of, when I look a bit closer, it's a very bright light coming out of it. Lava, like liquid metal, was spraying out of the element. The heating element. I don't know. Can it rupture or burst?
I didn't know that an oven could get too hot. I thought that's their job.
Luckily, the cheesecake probably only needed another 5 minutes, and so I just turned it off and just not planning on using that again anytime soon.
No, and you've obviously informed the wife of the update with the oven.
I have, yes.
And she's not going to be using it either, right?
No.
Right. Are we going to get it repaired? Are we ripping it out? What's happening?
I've been looking on Good Guys at options, and I've realised that they come along with an electrician. They get it all done.
Yes. What did you think they were going to do? Drop it off at your doorstep and go have fun?
I fucking got no idea. I don't know.
Come on. Don't worry about any of that stuff, right? You get stuff.
But what I'm concerned about, I've just never done it before. So, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I just haven't gone through the process.
Well, I can understand
it's easy. But I don't clean behind my oven, and I can see down the side, like things have just been going down there for decades.
If you're going to go to a company that does this professionally, right, which you are, they've seen everything, mate. They'll get one look at your 1950s oven and they'll know what they're fucking in for. They'll know. They'll know. They will know. You're not fooling it. You're not surprising anyone.
You're right.
Everyone should email in if they regularly move their oven out and clean behind it. All right, let us know.
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
It would be very weird. That's why these guys are professionals. That's why you get the professionals in. They deal with it all the time. In fact, if you did go ham and clean it up and then they said, this is a bit suspicious, mate, because this thing looks like it's from the 1950s, but it looks like it was cleaned regularly.
They'd think I'm a psychopath, wouldn't they? They'd be like, this guy's cleaning behind his 50s oven.
You can dump all your anxiety surrounding this because they've seen it all, mate.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'll get one this week. So next time we talk, you've given me a lot of confidence.
Great.
You've talked me into this. I was going to go to Good Guys one day this week and just kind of pick one.
Pick one.
That fits. I know the dimensions, 60 centimetres.
Yeah, you know
slot that thing in. Yeah.
Yep. And again, they've seen everything. They've seen everything.
The cheesecake was bloody fantastic.
Right, worth is what you're saying.
Yeah. I got it because I watched the Tour de France and the cycling's so boring.
Right. You needed something to do.
No, they know you need something else that's more stimulating than just the riding. So they have this French bloke who comes on each night.
Oh my God.
And he does a cooking segment.
Cooking segment on the Tour de France.
On the Tour de France. And I actually really like it because he's a very likable gentleman, and he's got this really, really thick French accent to the point that I don't even know what he's saying half the time.
You just like
it. Sounds good.
You get it. Yeah, you enjoy it.
I love him, and he's passionate about food. So you get that accent, and you get this dude that's passionate about food, and it's just
you're trying to get some residual runoff from him in terms of the passion and you want to get zhuzhed up about it too.
Oh,
right?
I got zhuzhed.
Yeah, because he's so zhuzhed, you're getting a bit of zhuzh off him.
He zhuzhed me to the point that I looked up his recipe because he publishes them on the Tour de France website. And I was like, man, because it was so fucking easy. This cheesecake, I don't know what's in a cheesecake. Cheese.
Right.
Cake. I don't know.
Is it?
Well, cream cheese. So
right.
there is a form of cheese, I guess. Is cream cheese even cheese? I don't know.
People go crazy for cheesecake, man.
I know, and I don't. But what I realized is when he was making it, it was just this, he just blended up some things in a blender, basically poured it in, and that was your cheesecake.
Easy. Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, man, that firstly looks great.
Yep.
Sounds fucking easy.
Yep.
So I did it. And then the only other thing you do is you get cherries and you get 250 grams of cherries.
Yep.
And you mix them with 500 grams of caster sugar.
Everyone writing this down? Yep.
Bit of water.
Yeah.
And then you just saute, I don't know if that's the right word, you boil those bad boys down. So are you grappling with, there's more sugar. There's twice as much sugar than cherries in this thing. Fucking delicious.
Of course it is.
It's sugar with a side of a little bit of cherry. And so they're called candied cherries. And then you bang that on top of a slice of the cheesecake and you're in the Basque region of
And then
Spain.
you just pop it in the fire in the oven.
Yeah, give it that good smoking it needs.
Yeah, give it a smoking. Do you think that helped, did it? I reckon it might have.
I think a little bit of the molten lava may have just sort of sprayed onto the top of it.
Yeah. The French guy doesn't want to mention, hey, if your oven catches fire during this, don't panic. It's going to make the cheesecake better. But I can't tell you to always do it this way because it's not very efficient. You have to buy a new oven all the time.
Yeah, so that was good. I haven't done any other ones because some of them were too wanky and they involve caviar and stuff. I was like, no.
Okay. And you're not trying to zhuzh me up, are you? Because I'm not getting any cheese zhuzh from the cheesecake.
Look,
cheesecake kind of sounds like meatloaf to me. Cheesecake sounds like two opposing things, like meat and loaf. Like what is meatloaf? Is it just meat?
It's
in the form of a loaf.
It doesn't make any sense. Like meat shouldn't be in that format, should it?
Well, that's the same thing with that I feel about cheesecake though, because cheese is for your sambos. I wouldn't have a cake sandwich.
Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but not a lot in this life does really.
No. Ice cream sandwiches. Yeah, I've seen it all. But you're talking about the tour, so staying on the French vibes. Did you know that on this day, I don't know, a couple of hundred years ago, Napoleon's boys discovered the Rosetta Stone?
Really? On this day?
On this day.
Wow. That is a seminal moment in understanding ancient Egypt.
Well, it was, yeah. It sort of spun out ancient Egypt as a sort of scientific endeavor. It wasn't really a thing up until then. And it sort of sparked a big a thing called Egyptomania in France. People started getting really pumped about ancient Egypt.
Oh, is this one of the things
Napoleon's boys went through
I
there.
thought he went through there because of the Egyptomania. I don't know. I just assumed that.
Well, he did bring a whole bunch of boys with him, scientists and people,
astronomers and
people that do stuff. Yeah. Do all the dark shit. But it I found out it's not actually like unique. It's not the Rosetta Stone is not unique.
Is it not?
Yeah, so we found a few more fragments and a full copy of it somewhere.
So if we never found the Rosetta Stone, would we still be in the same position we are today, do you think? Because of using these other fragments, we would kind of pick up.
Yeah, I think it was in a matter of time. It probably pushed it forward by a couple of 100 years because I read somewhere that something got discovered in 2011. But there's a lot of these other decrees, right, that they've found. Because I wanted to know what it actually said. I was looking into the research to see what it actually says.
What, on the Rosetta Stone itself?
Yeah, what's the translation? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted to know.
What is it? It's probably a recipe for a cheesecake.
It could be, yeah. No, but it isn't. At the top, it's ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. In the middle, it's what they were currently sort of
like Latin or
doing.
Some shit? Latin one of them?
No. I thought that too, but it's actually ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. And then there's the middle one, which is what the people were doing at the time, which is still pictographs like hieroglyphs, but a more cursive form. And at the very bottom, it has ancient Greek.
Oh, okay.
And it was a decree from Ptolemy V, who was the pharaoh and also, successor of Alexander the Great. So he's a Greek as well. So it's during that Greek Egyptian dynasty, towards the end of the ancient Egypt as a thing. And I think it's 196 BC that it was dated, 27th of March, 196 BC. And it's basically a decree that says, I'm Ptolemy, I'm fucking awesome, pop a picture of me in your room. You can build my statue next to the god's statue in ancient Egyptian temples. You can pop it next to them.
Oh, he's given his consent for his likeness to be reproduced, but only in that context, yes.
Yep. So you're allowed to worship me along with the other gods as per regular pharaoh jams. Yeah. They're sort of gods walking on earth, right? So do that. And it's one sentence. So this decree is just one sentence of pop a statue up of me. I'm a cool guy. I do a lot of good stuff.
No punctuation.
No punctuation, one sentence, yeah. And it's really long. The stone is massive. And what they would do is there would have been hundreds of these in antiquity because they were put in every temple. Every major temple had to have this out the front.
Chances are, okay, you spam enough material out there, one of them is going to survive, be found by a future civilization.
Well,
army.
They didn't plan it like that. They were just letting people know who Ptolemy was and how great he was. It was just a means of communication. So there would have been hundreds of these tablets all around the place, and Napoleon managed to find one of them.
And so they're dated. You reckon it's dated around 200 BC or something?
Yeah. 196 BC. That's when the inscription is dated itself. The decree starts with, "Hey, here's the date. I'm Ptolemy. I'm great."
Yeah, okay. I wonder what date they would put on there, because obviously they don't know that Christ is coming. So they don't write it's 196 BC.
No, they don't. But they did do the 27th of March. They know it's the 27th of March.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
What kind of calendar were they? I don't know. Calendar probably, the Egyptians probably created the fucking calendar we use. Who knows what they were up to?
Oh, mate. They probably did.
That's one thing.
Or they were around the sort of beginnings of culture. So they're all stealing shit off each other back then as well. And they, stealing shit.
A lot of knowledge, unprotected. Yeah. Didn't have the right laws in place to stop copyright infringement, things of that nature.
No, I think it was more like, hey, when we conquer you, we will accept some of your beliefs along with some of our beliefs. We'll have a sort of joining of the two to make it more palatable to the people.
This is one thing.
Morphed things. Yeah.
I've been reading a bit about Egypt, in case you weren't aware. Heading there in about 2 months. So I'm full gas on reading esoteric kind of pseudoscience right now.
Yeah, so, great.
One of the things, obviously I read the Book of the Dead not that long ago. Yeah. And that was largely a translation of a papyrus called the Ani Papyrus that was about 80 foot long in hieroglyphs and whatnot. And that was targeted at a civilian who had enough money to buy the rule book, the rights, a personalized.
Essentially booking a funeral with your funeral director ahead of time. You had the money, you're booking ahead, you're going to have that cheap, you're going to have that nice, easy road to the afterlife. All these other pricks are going to have a very difficult time.
Exactly, and they've customized all your spells for the ones that you require.
Right. Depending on what?
Whatever you want. I think there was it was customizable is what I'm saying. I don't really know. You
choose your own afterlife. Yeah, right on. Sounds great.
And so that was, I don't know what the date of that was exactly, but it was later on, right? So yeah, and who knows? And it's one person's one.
Yeah,
so I
so
think,
it's not even a definitive Book of the Dead, is it? It's more of just one person's Book of the Dead.
exactly. But
yeah,
one of the things they also, it's a compilation. The one I read is a compilation of other sources as well, but mainly draws on that Annie papyrus. But
interesting.
what I've found recently after doing a bit more reading is I've also heard that the Book of the Dead is also derived from a thing called the pyramid texts. And one of the main pyramid texts, not knowing that much about it, is in this pyramid called Unas, U-N-A-S. And they only cracked into that like 100 years ago. And it's from the 5th dynasty. I don't know much about the dynasties, but all the big pyramids, the peak of Egyptian civilization was the 4th dynasty. That's when purportedly the Giza pyramids. Yes.
Kicking around.
Khafre. I can't pronounce their fucking names.
Yeah, Khafre.
Yep. All those guys were milling about in the 4th dynasty, right? So what's fascinating is the 5th dynasty being after the 4th is only maybe within a generation or 2 or 3, I don't know exactly, of the 4th dynasty, the peak. And in this pyramid is an uncorrupted version of what that was directed at the pharaoh's afterlife. It is funerary text for the pharaoh in his burial chamber. Civilian. And not just that, when you find books and they're compiled you don't know whether the scribe, yet they're drawn on earlier sources and you don't know how much liberties the scribe has used when copying it. This is the be-all and end-all, unaltered.
Just OG.
The oldest religious text we have, and it's unadulterated. It's not this fucking Bible bullshit that's been, gone in and out. Everyone's,
But this is late.
It was around 2500 BC, I think. So, I mean, it predates, the Rosetta Stone by just, 2.5 millennia.
How has there been a pyramid that hadn't got cracked till 100 years ago? How did that happen?
People thought there was this one. They thought, well, we only got inside the Giza pyramid we
did, yeah, but other blokes got in there 500 years before that and all sorts of stuff.
I don't know too much about it.
The one that you go through, if you go through the Great Pyramid of Giza, you actually go through what's called essentially the robber's tunnel. It's still the best way to get in because the main entrance is no go.
yeah. They sort of they sort of chiseled their way or whatnot, sort of carved their way into it at some point.
It's just limestone.
I think it's about
on the outside.
Yes. I don't know what some of the internal.
Yeah, there's granite inside.
There's granite inside.
Yeah, but not the whole thing.
Around
it.
No. Anyway, I just found that fascinating about the pyramid text by just thinking that it's unaltered. That's amazing because books don't last that long.
Yeah, true. It's
kind of
stone. Cool. Haven't you seen a lot of those, Valley of the Kings tombs and stuff? Wouldn't they be funerary texts on the walls as well in the pharaoh's tombs in the Valley of the Kings?
I think they're later dynasties as well. The fascinating thing about this,
because they weren't building big shit anymore. They were
and that's why what's great about this 5th dynasty one is it is just after the peak. So it's the closest thing you can get to what they were actually believing, what the religion was at the time of their peak.
We know a lot about it though, right?
We
know a lot about how the religions changed over the years. We knew a lot about that.
But I think there's a lot of interpretation as well. So I think a lot of it's up in the air as to what it actually means. Like, we've translated it, but there's such loose translations subject to interpretation and a million. It's I don't know. It's complicated. It seems like no one really agrees what a lot of these things are.
Yeah. I mean, if it's hieroglyphs, they can translate it, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah, they can.
Knowing the words is one thing, sure.
All I know is that there's a lot of uncertainty about what's meant by these things. I don't really know why.
I just
don't think when you translate, I don't think it's like going from.
I think so.
I don't think it's like going from French to English, which is kind of
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
think of the two most distant languages that are currently spoken on Earth, and how communication would be one to the other.
Yeah.
There was this one pharaoh, I think his name was Akhenaten, and he was the first one that says, hey, just don't worry about all the other gods, just do me, right? I'm the dude, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of created the first sort of monotheistic, one of the first monotheistic religions in that he was saying, oh, no, it's just the one now. We're all kind of one God.
He's a smart guy, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a bit of consolidation in it.
And it just simplifies. People want it simple.
Oh,
Don't
man.
worry about all these names, all these people, all the things they do. Worshipping, because then you have to split your time. You're like, oh, do I worship the sky god or the water god today? I've only got 15 minutes.
Yep.
Just worship me. That's all you need.
So I did ask ChatGPT about the Rosetta Stone, and it said it gave me a whole bunch of funny stuff.
Yeah.
Because I said a bunch of stuff earlier about how there was other copies found. So I asked her how many copies of the Rosetta Stone have been discovered. And it says, as of my knowledge, cut off in September 2021, which is when all that ChatGPT can remember, only one complete copy of the Rosetta Stone has been discovered. The Rosetta Stone is an ancient Egyptian artifact dating back to 196 BC and is famous for its inscription in 3 texts. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, Demotic script, which is what I was failing to say earlier, and ancient Greek. The discovery played a crucial role in deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs as it provided a key to understanding the ancient script. Fragments of similar multilingual texts have been found throughout Egypt. However, these fragments are not considered separate copies of the Rosetta Stone, but rather additional examples of similar inscriptions that aided in the decipherment process. So it's other kings' decrees that they would have popped out there on other steles. So I said, how many partial copies then? Because maybe it's looking for like a full stone, of which I'm sure doesn't really exist. It says, I apologize for any confusion. Oh, Jesus. To clarify, there are no partial copies of the Rosetta Stone. The term partial copy typically refers to a reproduction or fragment of an original artifact. In the case of the Rosetta Stone, there is only one complete and original stone that was discovered in 1799 by French soldiers during the Napoleonic campaign in Egypt. It is currently on display at the British Museum. I wrote, wasn't another one discovered in 2011? And it said, I apologize for the confusion. Again, apologizing. As of my knowledge, there had not been another complete Rosetta Stone discovered after the original one found in 1799. However, it is possible that new archaeological discoveries have been made since then, and I may not have information on them after 2021, right? So I'm back to square one on that one. I don't actually know what I know on that one.
Well, maybe it's because it's trying to find another Rosetta Stone.
I think it's getting confused as to what I mean.
And it's very sorry about it. It's apologetic.
It's very upset about it.
I don't want to upset it anymore.
No. I'll let it rest.
Because if you show that you're still confused, it will just be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't help you figure it out.
I know you're having the worst day. Yeah.
If you could be one person that's ever lived, would Alexander the Great be in the conversation, do you think?
I don't know, man. I can't think of anything scarier than being the
greatest conqueror
world
ever
leader. Yeah.
Maybe Genghis Khan would be, but in the conversation of greatest conqueror of all time.
Well, I'm just talking world leader in the sense that he conquered most of what they knew to be the known world.
That's insane, isn't it?
It's crazy.
And
so
then,
I wouldn't be picking Alex.
Not only did he conquer the known world, but he was one of, my understanding is that he was one of, Egypt got conquered a number of times, but the people never accepted their conquerors as leaders. He got accepted as a pharaoh. He embraced their culture. He came to them and he said, your scriptures talk about the one returning, a bit of a Christy thing or something of that nature. And he said, I'm the guy. I'm your Messiah. And he got accepted and
he kicked off the Ptolemaic dynasty. So that's true.
And then he got
but that's kind of the end of Egypt as well. It's kind of the end of ancient Egypt.
Then he founded Alexandria.
No, but the Ptolemaic dynasty was the last dynasty of ancient Egypt.
Yeah, but it was going to end eventually. They all end.
Wow. What do they say the average age of a civilization is in that, that thing where they try and discover if the aliens are out there?
Oh, I think did they say 10,000?
900? I thought it was something else.
Or did I say 10,000? I was
think
guessing.
You said 10,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
They said 900.
Yeah, you might be right, but you're thinking of Earth civilizations.
Yes,
I'm thinking,
in that sense, yeah.
For some reason I'm thinking of civilizations that become spacefaring, but that's not fair because of course they're going to endure longer because they can move around, whereas if you're stuck on one planet, as soon as the climatic conditions on that planet change or you have a massive catastrophe on that planet, you're stuck there in that environment, so potentially going to get wiped out. Whereas I suppose if you can hop to a safer place, then you'll live on.
Wow, and even that's finite. But yeah, they'd be the outliers. Your 50,000 year civilizations and that sort of stuff, or 10 million year.
I saw an article today actually that was saying that they reckon the universe might be 26.7 billion years old, which is double.
Isn't that older than what they said?
It's double what it was.
They've just
before.
doubled it.
They doubled it. I think it's bullshit.
Oh, bloody hell. They just keep doubling shit.
Yeah, I've got it here.
In the Monty Python song, they say that the galaxy contains 100 million stars, right? Nowadays, that was in the 70s, by the way. Nowadays, they say 500 million stars in the Milky Way.
Yeah, that number just keeps changing. Who knows?
Times 5?
Yeah. I know it's in the hundreds of millions. But, I mean, that's what I understand it is. Okay,
100 million.
This is on SciTech Daily. A new study proposes that the universe may be 26.7 billion years old, challenging the widely accepted estimate of 13.7 billion years based on the Lambda CDM concordance model.
Oh, it's about time that got a kick, that model.
Oh, I'm just sick of it. Let's just land on something. Let's just stick with 13.7. Don't come at me.
That's science, isn't it? That's science. We've got to keep going. Maybe it's 50 trillion years old. We don't know. If they're going to keep doubling it, though, that is getting out of control, isn't it? Really? Yeah, are they just trying to make it more like palatable when the aliens rock up? And we're like, of course there are aliens. There's double the amount of stars.
Okay, so the Lambda CDM, or the Lambda Cold Dark Matter concordance model, also known as the Standard Model of Cosmology, is currently the simplest and most widely accepted model that describes the evolution of the universe from its early moments to the present day. Well, if this is the most accepted model, aren't we all agreeing that it's 26.7 billion years old?
Well, that's what they're saying.
Many scientists have been puzzled by the existence of stars like the Methuselah.
Oh, it's a Bible reference.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The Methuselah that appear to be older than the estimated age of our universe. I didn't know there was a star. Yeah.
Appear to. What, have they got grey hairs or something?
Or wrinkly?
Big beard?
Oh, it's the James Webb Space Telescope. It's causing controversy.
The JWST.
Yeah, fucking hell. Let's get rid of it.
Well, you were a big fan of it until now.
I'm confused, all right? I'm getting old.
Just give me some information.
Hey,
go on.
Yeah. No. Oh, because I've been doing my homework.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I've been watching The Mandalorian.
Yep, just popping an episode on whenever you can.
Yeah, I'm just into season 2 now.
Wow, you've popping off, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Are you watching like an episode every couple of days?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's great.
It's amazing how much you can just watch on the toilet. If you add up all your toilet time.
Right, there's an episode in there, is there? Jesus.
Yeah. It looks incredible. I realised I'd only watched 4 episodes last time.
Oh, so you're officially in unknown territory now.
Oh, well and truly, yeah.
Yeah, exciting. So what do you think?
Well, I just watched an episode that reminded me of Dune. It was the first episode of season 2. It was almost Wild West themed.
Oh, yeah. No, but Star Wars is a Western. But yeah. I'll pay that.
Star Wars is a Western?
Yeah, when I went to uni, we went to this, we were told to watch this video, or there was a lecture about how more or less every movie is a Western. Same sort of tropes, yeah.
Okay, what's a Western trope? Oh,
Black hat, white hat is the classic trope. So in the first Star Wars, you had Luke Skywalker. He wore all white. He was a farm boy. And you had Darth Vader, who was the bad guy, and he had the black hat, which was a black helmet in this case, and a full black suit. Harrison Ford is basically a cowboy. Is he more of a city slicker?
Movie. If Skywalker was a farm boy, was Darth Vader representing the corporate interest?
I'd say so.
The Empire, yes.
Yeah. I'd say so. And it's the whole idea of Han Solo's character. He wears a vest, for fuck's sake. Like, he's basically a cowboy. There's not, sure, there's more stuff.
Yeah, I can
in
see
there.
that. Yeah, no, good. Well, he rolls in this one. Mando rolls into town on this speeder. He goes to Tatooine looking for another Mandalorian that's rumored to be around there, and he cruises in. It looks like he's riding a horse into town. Everyone's looking at him. He goes to the bar.
Of course, he does. You just named 2 Western tropes in a row. Yep. The stranger rolls into town and goes to the bar. Yep.
And then they nearly have a Western style
bar fight.
Yeah, well, they're about to draw. They're about to go down. They got, what do you call it? Where you have like a showdown type thing. Yeah,
duel.
A duel. Yeah, they were going to have a duel, but then they decided to resolve their differences.
Peacefully.
Yes, more peacefully. And they decide they're all going to try and get this Dune-like worm out of town. There's this big sandworm thing, just like Dune.
And they're bad news bears, right?
Yeah, they're just eating people, just necking wildlife and stuff.
When he rocks up to town, does the sandworm immediately attack and swallow like half the town just conveniently? It hadn't done that for hundreds of years, but now it's really just coming right into town. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, there's a few things I've been sort of picking up along the way. Yoda is extremely... Wait, is it Yoda or not? Is this another type of...
Well, first of all, do you know where this is set in the timeline?
No, I was wondering about that today.
It's after Return of the Jedi. So I'll give you the skinny from Return of the Jedi, just so you know up to date, is the Emperor got fucking thrown down a pit by Darth Vader. Darth Vader's dead. Luke Skywalker's alive. All the rebels, they're just celebrating a big win. But there's still remnants of the Empire out there.
See, I had no idea. That makes so much sense. For some reason, I thought it was before.
I can understand that because like the timeline's completely blown when you talk about Star Wars. But no, most of the new content is bridging the gap between 6 and 7, mainly because I think the whole sequel trilogy kind of sucked, and they're going about fixing it.
Well, because one of our mates mentioned a name for this thing, and then I was like, I don't know what name you're talking about, so I don't think I'm up to that. I think they named this little animal. Or he said like the relationship between Mando and what was it, like something with R or something, was he said that they did that really well.
He's just called the child in the first, where you're at. He's just called the child.
Yeah.
There's no name
but this
for him.
is he's so
he's not Yoda.
Damn cute.
Yoda's
he reminds
dead.
me. Yes.
Yoda died quite recently in the timeline.
But he's of the same species. Presumably.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he reminds me of my pug in that he's got big eyes.
Yeah, he
he's
does
quite
remind
defenseless.
Me. Yeah.
And this is one thing I've thought about pugs is their survival mechanism, like the way they have survived is with being extremely, extremely cute. Because Mando is going out of his way. Like what was his? He must have had some deep sort of feelings towards this thing to look after.
I never got that from like the first episode where he makes the call between turning this thing in for money, which is his job, which he's been doing his job quite successfully for some time. He's quite good at it. You know, getting bounties, bring them back, get paid. He's been doing it for ages. All of a sudden, Bounty's this pug thing, right? And he goes, no, I think I'll keep it.
He throws it. He throws his whole life away, doesn't he?
Yeah. But I never got that because I can't see inside like the helmet thing. I don't know if he's sad or whatever when he's like just. I mean, some of it's communicated non-verbally, and they do a really good job of that. But I don't know why he threw his whole life away.
I think arguably Yoda's, or I'm just keep calling it Yoda because in my mind,
you can call him Yoda.
The child.
People called him Baby Yoda for like years.
Yeah. Baby Yoda's cuteness is arguably more important than his ability to manipulate matter and energy with his mind.
Right.
Because this is what's getting him through. This is what's getting him to adulthood.
Yes.
And this is what's happened to Luffingham. Is the
he
generations of him, he's manipulating people with his cuteness.
Yes.
He can't do anything for himself. He's totally reliant on others. And if he wasn't cute, geez, he would have, not that I'd treat him any differently, but.
Yeah, it's an evolution.
Yeah, this mini Yoda's pretty badass though, floating around in a pram.
Yeah, he became a dad pretty quick.
Yeah, he got the officially made Baby Yoda's dad, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there was like an official sort of pronouncement.
Oh, he's taking custodianship.
Yeah, he became his dad.
Oh, that's nice.
Stepdad.
That would have been a nice moment.
But my other insight is that Mandalorian's just Batman.
Right.
He's got all the gadgets, he's this sort of Iron Man type superhero.
Yeah.
His parents were killed. He was taken in by the Mandalorians. Is that a Western? That's probably a Western trope.
Sure.
It's the same play. It's the Batman play.
Of course. But also, like, I reckon the series plays a bit like a video game because you're like, oh, what new toys will he buy this time? You know what I mean? Like, what's he going to add? Because he's always adding to his suit.
Yeah.
He's got the jetpack.
He just got the
jetpack. A new bit of metal.
Yeah,
he pops in a new bit of metal and it's like a big deal. Like you told me about the first episode or whatever when he gets the Beskar and he gets a little shoulder thing made out of it. But it's like the best day ever. It's like, what, man? Like, you've just got a little bit of metal on your shoulder and you're like, no, it's really cool.
He gets shot in the shoulder in that episode as well, just like perfectly where the Beskar is.
Of course he did.
It's worth its weight in gold, that stuff. Yeah. What are those scavenger Ewok-y things that are on the sandcrawler?
They're Jawas.
Jawas. In one of the episodes, they gut his ship. He leaves it for
20 minutes.
20 minutes. It's completely gutted. Everything's taken. And then he has to get all his gear back. And they want this big hairy egg that this rhinoceros is guarding, this like weird alien rhinoceros.
Because it's sacred to them or something, right?
Well, I couldn't figure that out. Is that why they wanted it?
Yeah, but then they ended up just eating it, didn't they?
Yeah, well, this is they're all they've got all this expensive stuff. They've got a spaceship basically from this guy, right? So they got all this gear. They're gonna trade all of that for a big hairy egg.
Yeah, for a big Cadbury cream egg. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just cut it open. And then once they get it, they're just slopping it everywhere, making a big mess. Like they're using their hands. They can't stop eating this thing.
You're not going to sell a ship's parts at full price. The Jawas margins are not great.
If it means that much to them, the egg, treat it with a little bit of respect.
All right. Right.
At least some portion,
that's their culture.
That's
their culture. Nah, that's their culture. If they get an egg, they fucking slam the egg. That's how they roll.
I can see why they're struggling financially. It's insanity. Right. Like there's no like measure of like let's just calm it down. Let's take stock of what we got.
Have a little bit now. Have a little bit later.
Yeah, let's use a spoon. They're just slopping it all over their face, their hands. They're just all digging in.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was just ridiculous. And then there's this montage. Then it annoyed me that he could put together the spaceship.
Right.
So they
just with odds and ends.
Just odds. Well, no, he got it all back. He got all the gear apparently, but presumably they gave it all to him for the hairy egg. Like they couldn't just have forgotten something. It's not like they're organized.
I'm sure they have honor.
Nah, that sandcrawler is so fucking disorganized. There's just things thrown everywhere. So they collect all his hyperdrive and his brakes and stuff, and he comes back to his ship and everything's just hanging. All the wires are just hanging from the ceiling, and he just somehow overnight, with the help of one dude, they put it all together and it's spacefaring again. You can't
That's amazing.
Repair the spaceship and like fly it into outer space and be like, no, nailed it.
Any guy worth his suit of armor knows how to fix up a starship overnight. The bulletproof sort of vest is a Western trope too. That's old Clint Eastwood gets shot, throws the poncho up. He's wearing a bulletproof vest. Shoot him in the head. When did we stop doing that?
So did Westerns just dominate for a while? Like, why do they have all the tropes? Why do they have a monopoly on all these ideas?
Yeah, there was big Western movies, and then it became very popular in Italy. It spun off its own genre called spaghetti westerns, which are really good. They're just westerns, but they're in Italian. But it looks like the Midwest America. Like they changed nothing else except the language. But it popped off.
Is there much money behind those movies? Do they look any good?
Yeah. They look as good as the other westerns of the time. Like they were really good, made by really prominent Italian directors who may have later directed in Hollywood. Famous stuff.
ChatGPT, who is the Clint Eastwood of spaghetti westerns? I spelled spaghetti wrong.
That's all right. ChatGPT will figure it out for you.
The Clint Eastwood of spaghetti westerns is in fact Clint Eastwood himself.
Wow.
Clint Eastwood gained international fame for his portrayal of the iconic character, the Man with No Name, in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy.
Yeah, so Sergio Leone was a spaghetti western director who later directed all of those Clint Eastwood movies.
Oh, because then it says which consists of the films A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More.
For a Few Dollars More. They're like James Bond movies.
1965.
Yeah.
And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966.
There you
go. Yeah. Okay, I'm only familiar with that one.
No, he did a trilogy, like the Dark Knight trilogy. Clint Eastwood did the Fistful of Dollars trilogy.
The Dollars
and
trilogy.
It's classic. It's just roll into town, meet the people. There's a bad guy in town as well who's causing problems for the locals. Deal with him. Chain gun, minigun or some shit at the end out of a coffin. And that's another trope. You pull a gun out of a coffin. Yeah, get the girl. You got to get the girl.
That you say it, that's funny about the Gatling gun or whatever, because that's one thing that I noticed, like that when the Mandalorians come to save Mando, one or two of them drop in with a machine laser gun, and I'm like, oh, there's evolution, and everyone's like, it just dominates.
Yeah, well, Han Solo's pistol is just a German pistol from World War II with a little
Walter PPK or
something like that.
Yeah.
You just went GoldenEye on me there.
Hey, and you know how I thought Lando Calrissian was back in it?
Yeah.
It's Carl Weathers.
It's Carl Weathers from the Predator series, yeah.
I was going to say Arrested Development, yeah.
Where he plays himself as like an acting coach?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. He sort of memed himself, came out the other side, and now he's a big deal in Star Wars, so good on him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. You got to have balls to like meme yourself like that, where you get cast in something as yourself. Ricky Gervais did it with Extras, where he brought a celebrity in every episode, and he essentially was saying, we're going to take the piss out of you. Is that okay? That's what he did to all the people.
So good.
Ben Stiller, Kate Winslet, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen. Fucking hell, it's great.
Bowie?
Yeah, Bowie's in it. He sings that song.
Oh, the Fat Man.
Sad Little Fat Man.
Sad Little Fat Man, yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, Pathetic Little Fat Man. But that's great.
In one of the episodes, they're laying low in this like little rice village or something, or they bloody grow prawns or something.
This is not Extras, by the way. This is Mandalorian, right?
Yeah. And this little girl is feeding Yoda mushrooms. And I was like, here we go. Here's the mushroom theory of evolution in action.
She's drugging him.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he had the special powers before or after the mushrooms. So there's a chance that he only starts manipulating
whether or not
matter.
That is the case. It could be made. They could be made the point that the mushrooms were actually what's giving him magic.
Yeah, all I'm saying is he was doing fuck all, and next thing he's like the most powerful thing in the
lock it in.
Yeah. You mentioned his helmet before, though.
Yeah.
How does it? His vision must be so impaired out of that thing.
Yeah, you can't imagine those things being particularly tactful. No, I don't know. I don't know what he sees.
What can he actually? Sometimes you see a view of his where he is, checking out the heat signatures and stuff like that, and he has great vision apparently.
Right. So you think it's some sort of screen in there, maybe?
Oh yeah, it just doesn't seem right, does it? And it looks so bloody impractical. Like, so in the bar, the guy sits down. I was like, "How's this going to work?" The other Western bloke,
the same thing. Yeah,
sits down with 2 glasses and a bottle of something, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. How's this gonna go?" And of course, he doesn't drink anything because he can't. There's put a mouth hole on it. Yeah,
straw up. Yeah, it's a very impractical way to live, isn't it?
In this other episode, he lands on this spaceship and this guy goes, "Hey, Mando, is that you under this bucket?" And I'm like, what? He just bumps into someone in the universe and recognizes him. It's not even his face he's recognizing.
No, it's the suit.
No, but he's in new armor. It just makes no sense.
Right.
Then Bill Burr comes in.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
Remember that? That was pretty good.
So that was the Prison Break episode or something, right? Is Bill Burr on the job?
Yeah, and I think that's when I was in. That's when I think I realized I was liking what's going on.
That's hilarious because Bill Burr talks so much shit about Star Wars being dog shit, like on his podcast and all sorts of stuff. He ends up being in it. That's great.
Does he?
Yeah, he talks shit about it. He talks mad shit about Star Wars. I love listening to Bill Burr shit bitch on Star Wars, but that was before he was in it. He's still got the gig, is what I'm saying. It's great.
He's great. I'm pretty sure Moss from the IT crowd was the android or the droid driver of Mando's ship in that episode.
I think you're right.
Just 1 or 2 things he said, I was like, that is, and what a good actor to play a robot.
What a bummer though to have used him now. You know what I mean? You can't bring him out again.
He'd be a great C-3PO type, character.
Yeah, you're right. And in the IG-88 in the first episode, that's Taika Waititi.
Yes, I only found out about this the other day. I had no idea that. So he directs all of them?
No, he directed the first episode and he was the voice of IG-88 in the first episode.
Oh, so he only did the first episode?
Yeah. That's usually how it rolls. Some shows give one director the full, if it's a 5-episode thing or whatever, they might give one director the thing, but even then it's rare. They'll just have 5 directors.
I saw his name splashed around with it and then I just assumed he was the director.
I think he's directed multiple episodes though. He has. So there might be more in the future. Just have a look for the directed by at the start of the episodes from now on. Because
I skip all that stuff.
Oh, you skip it?
Yeah, I shouldn't.
No, you should. You probably should. If you're trying to speed watch it on the toilet, you probably don't have time to watch the credits.
Well, and watch content while you can because the Hollywood actors strike. Have you heard much about this?
Yeah. My immediate thought was, how can any of these guys survive on like $50 million a video? But then it was someone said to me, it's about background actors. It's about starting out actors. It's about
I don't think they're worried about the actors at the top. Apparently,
I don't think the actors at the top are too worried either.
No, 160,000 performers have stopped working.
Yep, there you go. And it will have a trickle down effect upon other businesses, especially in Hollywood. It'll have a trickle down here, even in Australia.
I saw that Fran Drescher was the Screen Actors Guild president.
Yeah, I saw that.
What's she been doing?
Well, since The Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck all. She did Spinal Tap. She did The Nanny. What else did she do?
I don't know why I've seen so much of The Nanny. Was it just on at the right time? I didn't.
It was on at the right time. It was on at the right time.
Was it a big show?
Was it a big show?
Because I've seen plenty of The Nanny.
Yeah, you know all the characters. You like certain characters and you don't like other characters. So you're in. Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Oh, man, watching an episode of that now would be pretty scary. So apparently the writers are also on strike at the moment as well.
They were already on strike. Yeah, they were already on strike. Which affects a lot of things, like from your daily soaps to The Tonight Show. It affects everything.
So are they still in production?
It doesn't affect reality TV as much.
So are shows still going at the moment? They just can't because there's no writers, no actors.
I don't know how it works logistically on the ground because, the Tonight Show is still on.
So
None of those shows have stopped.
Nottingham.
I just think they don't have the best people in. Like, they don't have the writers in.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, but they want a fairer split of profits.
Oh, yeah.
And better working conditions. That's what everyone wants when they're striking, right? Everyone wants more money to do
Nobody
less.
goes on strike for less money.
No, we're getting paid too much. We need
paid too much.
It's pens down. And but they also want a guarantee that artificial intelligence and computer-generated faces and voices will not be used to replace actors.
Wow. That's a pretty interesting condition.
Yeah, and who's gonna agree to that? Like, what all the producers, how do they hold them to that as well? It's a weird thing to ask for, but I mean they've thought about it. I haven't.
Interesting. It's an interesting discussion for sure. I'm glad the right people are having it, being the writers themselves. They're trying to say, look, we don't want this to replace what we do.
Yeah, this is the first double strike, being the writers and the actors, since 1960, when the Screen Actors Guild was headed by actor and former US President Ronald Reagan.
There you go.
I didn't know he was an actor.
So what are we thinking here? Is there a bit of linkage? Could we have a Fran Drescher 2024 presidential candidate?
What did Ronald Reagan do?
Well, didn't he invent Reaganomics?
What's that?
It's the way the Republican Party's been ever since.
Really?
I think so.
What's that
Dude,
involve?
You've seen his electoral map win. It's pretty wild. Wouldn't it be your standard small government, low taxes?
Yeah, I've got it here.
Keep government small, lower taxes for everyday people.
Yep, Reaganomics refers to the economic policies implemented during the presidency of Ronald Reagan, who served as the 40th president of the US from 1981 to 1989.
We were alive, Jesus.
Wow. Reaganomics aimed to stimulate economic growth, reduce government intervention, and promote free market principles. That sounds great. So it's like less regulation. Okay. So the key components: tax cuts, deregulation, reduction in government spending, tight monetary policy. What happened? This is great.
They're still doing it. What are you talking about?
Do they still do it?
It's still the status quo in the Republican Party and in the Liberal Party of Australia. Yeah, it's a conservative. Yeah.
Deregulation. Yeah. Okay. It just feels like there's more and more regulation. I think regulation's great. For certain things. Okay. And so what? The opposite. So the Democrats, so they're about more tax, regulation, government spending, loose monetary policy.
Yeah. That's if you want to call it the opposite.
Yeah.
But what if a cut to government spending meant cutting the Centrelink? That you don't support that. You don't support that.
No.
So you understand that like a certain amount of our tax dollars have to go out there to helping people who are struggling, right?
Yeah. And the question is,
so that would mean that we need to spend
how much?
But that would mean we need to spend more money on that, right? Because things aren't great at the moment.
I'm not opposed to spending money on people that need it.
Yeah. So that's your two sides in a modern context for me from a social perspective. Is one side's more about like personal freedoms and liberties and it's all like helping yourself. Whereas the other one's other people need help. Let's spend more money helping more people. Better hospitals, better schools, all that sort of stuff as well. Like that costs more money. That's never going to be solved by less money.
No. Don't worry, AI's here. The robots are coming.
Yeah. Nah, bring it on.
It'll sort
but
it all out.
I'm one of those weirdos who thinks like teachers should get paid shitloads of money You know, I'm one of those guys.
I'm all right with that, actually.
Of course, yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. You need to encourage good people to go into the teaching profession.
The best people.
The best people. Have all the best people teachers.
Yeah. And I think the Prime Minister should get paid a shitload of money. And the President, I think they should get paid a shitload of money.
They don't get paid that much, do they?
Not in Australia.
At all. You get some welders on oil rigs get more than PM. I get it doesn't look. I get it doesn't really look good. The optics, people will complain that they get paid too much. But again, you want to attract the best.
Would you do the hardest job in the world for 150 grand?
Which also has all that exposure to the public, and
absolutely,
you become like a celebrity. It's like, but you become a celebrity that no one wants to be.
Yeah, no one wants
to be a Polly.
Yeah, nobody likes that. But also, it's not like you get that locked in. It's like we're only going to be president for 3 to 6 years, prime minister, or 3 to 6 years. Well, I guess you can keep going in Australia, can't you? There's nothing. We don't have 2-term maxes.
No. And then you get that sweet pension. I think that's what a lot of them do it for.
Yeah, get that pension, dollary dues, and the travel allowance.
I can see why the actors, though, and
I've had a gutful.
The writers are worried about AI.
I can see that too.
Oh, definitely the writers, hey. Have you seen how AI has won an art competition?
I believe it, of course.
Let me see if I can find it.
But that makes sense.
It looks so good as well. If you type in AI-generated art won a prize, and it's this big orby-looking thing. I wonder what the inputs were to generate this thing. Like what it was trying to do. It kind of looks religious. They should just have
AI art championships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because then it comes down to who put the information in.
Isn't that? I mean, art is inherently subjective.
Is this the one with the light orb that goes into sort of another, but it looks kind of the same? Yeah, I've seen similar things done with AI. Yeah, yep, I've seen.
It does look
something
pretty
very akin to this.
So did someone enter it with that? So I assume that they didn't know it was an AI piece. That's the only way it could work.
They've submitted it as non-AI, which is not okay.
Okay, so Jason Allen of Pablo West Cola didn't make his entry with a brush or a lump of clay. He created it with Mid-Journey, an artificial intelligence program that turns lines of text into hyper-realistic graphics.
This is old.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's September last year. Yeah, okay.
In terms of AI, because you can generate this stuff on a website now in 2 seconds, this exact thing.
And this was in September 2022, and it says here in this article, AI-generated art has been around for years.
Yeah.
But tools released this year with names like DALL-E 2, Mid-Journey, and Stable Diffusion. What have you used?
Stable Diffusion. And Mid-Journey. Yeah, I've used 2 of those. Maybe even the other one. Well, that Stable Diffusion one took a long time for me to set up on my computer. But now you can just go on a website and do the exact same thing without having all the stuff on your computer. So, yeah, it's getting there.
This guy says it's not going to stop. Mr. Allen, art is dead, dude. It's over. AI won. Humans lost.
I disagree with that. But
I think I need to be striking because, as a lawyer, like I'm done, right? I'm
the AI coming for everyone's jobs. I've said it in the past. Everyone's scared until they do it.
They talk about AI being transformative to the economy. To a similar transformation to that of the internet.
I know.
It's early days, so it's hard to see. Like I get it. Like I sort of see it. You can
when the internet was around and it was just mail, that's where we are now.
Yeah. And like literally I typed in what is Reaganomics and I misspelt it and I got this little essay. I typed in who is the Clint Eastwood of spaghetti westerns, also with spelling errors. Quite a lot of spelling errors in that, actually. And
it gave quite an interesting answer in that it said, well, you'll be interested to know that the Clint Eastwood of spaghetti westerns is Clint Eastwood.
It's almost like I tried to get it with a trick question and it was like, no,
nope,
actually.
Gotcha. Yep.
And again, all the questions are regarding where the input for creative output is coming from. So they're saying that there's human input and we need to be protected.
What about when we just take our hands off the reins and let the AI decide what it wants to paint and do?
Yeah, just use the public body of work and go for it.
Just use your own, download the world, download the universe, and then do your own thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, but something washed up on the beach up north.
Yeah, I saw something about this.
Big cylinder looking
Where was
thing.
it? Where did it wash up?
Don't know.
It was about 400, 600 kilometres north of Perth. So that's my guess when I was looking at
on a beach. And I think the locals would be quite happy if we don't mention the town, because they've had a gutful of this already in terms of the publicity. They're just a small little hamlet. They don't want anything.
Do you think people are going to rush up there?
Down there?
Rush up there to see the vessel.
There was a guy on the radio when I was coming home. It was just like, look, we're just a little place, and we like it up here.
It's not like the Rosetta Stone's washed up.
No, it's not a UFO, although it is unidentified at this point. But I went on Reddit because someone had posted it to Reddit saying, anyone know what this is? So the internet sleuths got onto it pretty early, and they reckon it's a bit of rocket.
Really?
Yes, that has been potentially floating in the ocean for upwards of 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I just assumed it was a recent thing, because I think I saw, when I just glanced, an article that may be sort of, what was this material? Sorry? I was
carbon fiber, I believe.
That's what I was going to say, but it didn't look like carbon fiber when I saw a close-up of it. Interesting, because if it's carbon fiber, that's actually quite a modern.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been around a long time, but carbon fiber is only sort of more commonly used. Like, for example, Titan, that submarine, its experimental design was that it used carbon fiber rather than steel, titanium, and aluminium like all current subs use. So its hull was mostly carbon fiber, and the advantage is that it's way lighter than titanium or steel.
Yes.
So that Titan could have more space for passengers. So this is where the commercial consideration has dangerously affected. It's like the commercial and the safety are not uniform in there. You're not rowing in the same direction. So they want to get more people in. So they use this experimental design. There's no regulation for things like this because no one fucking does it. And so when this enormous water pressure puts the squeeze on, and carbon fiber is known, actually, because I've got a carbon fiber bike. The problem is when you sell carbon fiber bikes, or when you're buying a carbon fiber bike, what you don't know is if it's had any structural damage. Like if you have a crash with a carbon fiber bike, it might look fine, but the integrity's been lost. And if it has another crash, it could just just absolutely
explode.
Pretty much. It'll just disintegrate.
Yes.
But you don't know, because there's no objective way of determining. You have to ask the guy, like, basically, if you had any crashes, and there's like, no, but you don't know if the structural integrity has been compromised. And if you have another accident, it could just crack. And so they're saying that when this Titan thing went underwater, it's going under pressure. It's come back up. It's going under pressure. And they're saying that might have contributed to the fatigue of the hull.
Right.
So I got really obsessed with carbon fiber then. But maybe it's the Titan. Maybe the Titan's washed up.
Nah, it's not the Titan.
Tell you what are the theories?
Well, no, there's this guy posted it to Reddit Space, right? Found on a beach in Western Australia from what is this thing? So from a different Reddit, what is this thing? Helped ID it as space material. Can anyone help determine what kind of launch system, right? And there's a person 21 hours ago, top comment, says this is the third stage of India's PSLV rocket. Here is a picture side by side for reference. So if you go onto Discord and go pictures, if you go into the pictures area, there's a side by side of what he thinks it is. And someone's commented below him, I think we have a winner. The strap matches up perfectly.
That's
when
amazing.
Was this launched?
How's the power of the internet?
Mm-hmm.
Because India just launched something. India is quite active in the space. They actually landed something on the moon recently. They're the fourth nation to ever do a soft landing on the moon.
There you go.
Which is just landing something not people. Yeah,
There's more info though. It says
Yeah.
the straps match up perfectly. Any idea when this was launched? 1993, according to Google. This is another person now. PSLV has launched 57 times in total, most recently in April. Determining exactly which launch is almost going to be impossible without looking at part serial numbers. Based on the biofouling, it's been floating around for months, or at least maybe years. Now, he's wrong about that, about the serial numbers, by the way. That's not the only way to determine the launch, because apparently they can study the different types of barnacles that are on there and
really?
they'll get an age off the colony. So they'll be able to decide how long it's been floating in the water for and get a pretty, somewhat, if it is what we think it is.
Yeah, okay. That's amazing that just the way... I mean, AI should be able to figure out that, shouldn't? Why are we relying on humans to do this stuff?
Well, Reddit just does it without you asking it. It's the suborbital stage, this guy's saying. So there you go. Very interesting. It didn't make it past the Kármán line by the looks of it.
No.
And it's just decided to oots it into the ocean and float around for 30 years. Yeah, it's nice.
Well, there's always progress with space technology. A Chinese company has successfully launched the first methane or Methalox rocket into orbit.
There you go.
Called the Zerk II.
What's Methalox? That's type of fuel, right? Because I've launched Methalox rockets before in Kerbal Space Program 2, but I don't really know what the fuel is.
Yeah, it's methane, and I think it's methane and oxygen. Yeah, that's my guess, but it's definitely methane. But it's apparently supposed to be the more environmentally friendly option rather than burning, which I think most rockets burn kerosene or something like kerosene.
Jesus.
And it burns a pretty blue colour.
Oh, that's nice, isn't
Methalox,
it?
yeah, so it looks a bit cooler.
Oh, that's lovely. Kind of like when you were in school and you had a Bunsen burner. You know how you had the blue flame and you had the cigar lighting flame?
Yeah, cigar lighting flame.
So you had your jet lighter mode and your regular lighter mode. I'm sure that on day one, before they get you to use the Bunsen burners, they would have told you what the difference is between the two flames. One's called a safety flame, but it's not the one you think it is.
Or a cigar flame.
Or a cigar flame. No, but that's true, isn't it? One of them's called a safety flame, and it's not the one you think it is, right?
Yeah.
The safety flame is the fiery red one.
I think it's because you can see it.
That's safer.
I think it's part of it, and it doesn't burn as hot. So you're like, there it is, and it's not hot.
The blue one is go time.
It's invisible, and it's fucking hot.
And it's really hot. Great. I'm glad I still remember that.
Do you remember that Tehran R rocket that failed to reach orbit that we were talking about? It was 95% made of 3D printed.
Oh, and it nearly made it to orbit, got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that was a Methalox. That was going to be the first 3D printed rocket and the first Methalox to reach orbit, but it did not.
No, couldn't beat this Chinese company. Okay, fine. They've done it.
And even the Starship system is Methalox, but that didn't reach orbit either.
Yeah.
And half the reason...
There's going to be lots of these, isn't there?
So it is a bit of a breakthrough moment, though, because we're all... Blue Origin, with its most recent one, that's a Methalox, still hasn't reached orbit. Rocket Lab is doing Methalox.
Well, Blue Origin's never going to go to orbit, right? That's not in their MO. They just go up and down.
Well, literally on the 11th of July, it was test firing one of its BE-4 rockets, and that exploded during testing. And that's the one that they're using to try to... So, like, they've got... at least
bookings looking...
Bookings? Oh, yeah.
How's the bookings?
Not a long list of people on that one.
But when Starship gets to orbit, that'll be the biggest thing ever in orbit, right?
Oh, yeah. By a long bloody way.
We're just launching most of the Eiffel Tower up into space, right? Okay.
But the critical thing also about methane, not just that it's environmentally friendly, but you can source that on other planets quite readily. Methane's abundant everywhere.
Is it? Because I just thought it was cows and us farting, but you're saying it's in other things as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's quite a
just
common.
in rocks
It's
and
quite
shit?
common.
What, you
Yeah,
just
in the
open up a rock
atmosphere.
and ugh, smells.
There's some really cold planets moons that rain methane, so it
must stink
condenses
like shit over there.
But maybe liquid methane doesn't smell that much. But obviously, it's
Oh yeah.
basically.
Would you
the
drink a cup
temperature-
of liquid methane? Would you ever drink a cup of that?
I'll ask ChatGPT. Can you drink? But see, the problem is I'm going to ask it this question. I want an honest answer, but it will say
it doesn't know how to. What
I
things
can't
taste
tell you
like.
that.
Yeah.
Nate. No, it is not safe or advisable to drink liquid methane. Methane is a highly flammable and potentially hazardous gas at room temperature and atmospheric pressure.
Hazard at room temperature, like when you fart under the mattress, I thought, like under the blanket, I thought it was pretty safe, but apparently even at room temperature, this shit's flammable, and it'll pop off. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, methane is an asphyxiant.
So
meaning it can displace oxygen in the air and lead to suffocation. So don't Dutch oven yourself just for fun.
No, it's potentially deadly.
Hey, is it normal? So people generally, okay, I don't know how to phrase this. My farts don't smell as bad as someone else's farts, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Now, is there a subjective love for your own fart going on?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there must be, right? Because
it's not subjective. It's not subjective. It's in your DNA, right? It's in your. It's in your psyche.
Is it just because I know it's
your
me?
own? Yeah, your own stuff. Because if someone just gives you the look that they've farted and then you smell it and it's quite bad, that's 10 times worse.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so upsetting to smell someone else's fart. It's so invasive.
It's invasive.
It is invasive.
It's invasive.
It feels like, is it assault to fart? Like, could it be? Can you assault someone with a fart?
It depends on how close you are to them. Yeah, I'd say so. What, you're asking ChatGPT?
Yeah,
it's not going to know.
Can you assault someone with a fart? No, you cannot physically assault someone with a fart. Flatulence or passing gas is a natural bodily function and the release of gases from the digestive system. While it can be unpleasant or offensive to others due to its odor, it does not pose a physical threat or cause harm beyond its potential. I just read above that methane is an asphyxiant. Asphyxiant. Leaving it to...
Hang on. I need to know something. So before I fart, it's releasing gases from inside the body. So I've got methane in my body, in there.
Yeah,
I've got
think
methane.
So. Yeah, I think you do.
Have I?
Yeah.
Have I?
What is in a fart? Also, okay. Primarily can be. Okay, let's see. The exact composition can vary naturally. Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, methane. Number 5. Methane is also produced by bacteria in the gut during digestion of food, particularly when high fibre foods are consumed.
Of course it is.
It is the gas responsible for the flammable nature of farts.
The flammable nature.
Have you seen someone do what do they call it? Bloody
I don't know what it's
blue
called.
lagoon or whatever? I don't know.
What the fuck is a blue lagoon?
I don't know. The blue whisper. I don't know.
Wow. No, I don't know if I've seen it. I've definitely seen it in a movie or something, right? It would have been in something. Jackass have probably done it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just the people telling me about, it's like O'Leary's brothers have done it and they had a bit of a hairy asshole like most people do. Or am I the only one?
What do you mean? That hasn't seen it?
No, that has a hairy asshole.
No, I think that's pretty standard.
Pretty standard.
Yeah,
so
it'd be weird if you were
flame.
the only one and you just
revealed my shame.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did it and nothing bad happened. No one got asphyxiated.
No. He burnt the hairs on his butthole. Which is probably more smelly than the fart itself. It's kind of ironic. It's not ironic. It's
to answer your question from before, though. I don't think your farts are any better smelling than anybody else's. I think we're attuned to our own ones, and there is somehow an appreciation for it. Sometimes.
I just had a really good idea.
What, a fart competition?
No.
Damn.
Okay, this is a good one. I'm going to bottle a fart.
Yeah, people do that.
Do they? Who does
Sure.
that?
Streamers. You can buy one of their farts. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
that's
they
what I was
post
going to
it to you.
say.
Yeah, and then you post it, and then people
I was going to
open it
say,
and
if we ever become famous,
you'll
or
sell
just
your
my
farts.
grandchildren or something.
You'll sell your farts.
Yeah, but there'll only be one. I think scarcity is important. You need to do
only
it now.
one.
Yeah, it's a fart from 2023, right?
Right.
It's matured, so it's like 50 years on. People are like, man, what was this guy eating in 20? There'll be so much. They'll probably want to analyze it like chemically because it's so important.
It's probably a bit of shit in there too.
Could you imagine if we cracked open the Unis pyramid from 2500 BC and there was a bottled pharaonic fart?
Yeah, and do we open it? Do we not open it? What do we do?
It could be his soul. Like, it could be something important that's like linked to it. Who knows how these things work? I don't understand science.
Yeah, methane could literally be the soul. No. Bottle a fart up. Do 20. Make a run of 20. Yeah.
Oh, it's like vintage, a batch.
Vintage circa July 23.
Yeah. Okay.
And just hang on to them because you'll be able to sell them later is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the time will come. Yeah. Mm. Did you see the footy on Friday night, Brisbane and Melbourne? Or did you see at least the highlights?
No.
Brisbane were playing at the G against the Demons, and they've lost. Lions are very, very good this year, but they've lost 14 of their last 15.
That's bad.
At the G. But they sit like third on the ladder or something like that.
Yeah, how? If you're just getting addicted to the G.
Yeah,
so
well,
bad.
I mean, they probably play there like 3 or 4 times a year. So it's kind of like every time. But they won the final. The time they did win was actually in the finals. Yes, won the big one. Yeah. But it's not a good record. And I thought those records are made to be broken. Not just those, records.
True.
Themselves by nature.
True.
So I thought this is the time. I'm really rating Brisbane this year. And they were up by maybe 4 goals with 6 minutes left. I'm kind of making up the numbers here.
Okay.
But to the point that I had tipped Brisbane and I switched back to the tour because I was like, this game is done, right? And I even said, sometimes I call it too early. I've had one time where there was a minute and a half left and a team needed 2 goals to win. And I called it. I called it. And I started walking across, can't remember where I was. I think it was somewhere. I walked across our friends, was in another city somewhere. Walked across her friend's place to go out and got there and he was like, man, what a crazy ending. I was like, what? He's like, oh, did you miss it? I was like, oh, I left so I could not be late because I got to his hotel and was like waiting in the lobby for him. And
right.
Yeah, I was trying to do the right thing. Anyway, I called it again.
Did you?
Yeah. And Melbourne came back, did some heroic shit. Melksham kicked 2 of the last 3 goals. Wow. And they won by a point.
Wow.
And that's not really, that's cool, right? A nice close game.
Yeah.
Everyone likes a close game.
Yeah.
But then it's what I did afterwards that actually sort of blew my mind a little bit.
What happened?
I did some yoga, right? Just as I sometimes do before I go to bed. And I was feeling pretty loosey-goosey, I think, in my shoulders. It was more of an upper body type one. And then there was so I'm in the bedroom with the wife. It's not as weird as it sounds. She's just lying in bed. I'm getting ready for bed. And there's some socks on the floor because I think I was like sort of getting changed or whatever. And I sort of take this position where I'm sort of like kind of sounds weirder the more I say it, sort of bending over a little bit. And because I'm trying to do a fancy throw of my sock into the laundry basket. Okay.
Yeah. What, with your feet?
No, with my left hand. So I'm bending over a bit because I'm going behind the back, up and behind the back, and I'm about 5 meters, maybe 3 meters from the laundry basket.
Mm.
But the basket is also situated behind a cabinet, like behind a set of drawers, should I say?
You're going over it.
I have to. Yeah, there has to be elevation. You can't just go straight in, and also, the basket was about 3 inches off the wall, so you can't just
use
bank
the wall.
it. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't just sort of. Your socks don't really bounce much off the wall.
They would just slide.
Yeah, and so anyway, I launched this thing, and it just loops in there, just rainbows, just drops in the thing. I thought, man, that's crazy. So I've got my other sock, and this time, so I pull another one. I just go with my right hand, but through my legs. It's been a bit crazy. That one doesn't go in, okay, but it's very, very close. It sits on top of the drawers before it drops in. It was a millimeter away from dropping in, and it would have just fallen straight in the pit. And so then when I walked back, there was another pair of socks.
Okay. How did they get there?
There was just, I don't know, I hadn't cleaned up or whatever.
There's another one.
But this is my opportunity. So this time I look at the wife in the eyes, and I pull another left hand behind the back, rainbow, right? And she goes, she has this surprised expression. I said, did I get it? She's like, you did it. I was like, shit. So then I keep eye contact with her, and now I do an overarm behind the back. So like instead of the underarm behind the back, I'm doing now. So I'm not even looking at this thing anymore. I rainbowed that in.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was fucking insane. I was like, I had to stop, because I was like, look, there's no point in me doing this again. I can't, I'm going to ruin the run.
Well, you think you've done the greatest thing of your life?
Yeah, no, this is probably my greatest sporting achievement of my life. You don't understand the loop, the trajectory, the precision. It was incredible. And I have a theory.
You got 3 in a row or something?
No, I got 3 of the 4, but the 4th one was bloody close. The 4th one was a good effort, but they were all trick shots.
Yeah.
But I put it down to, I'd just been doing upper body yoga.
Right.
I was super limber.
Yep.
In my upper body.
Yep.
And I had a much better range of motion. Everything was smooth. Like there was no gritty.
And the mind as well.
Yeah, maybe I was in the right headspace. There was no inherent stiffness that you get. So the next day I joked, and I was like, hey, and I threw one behind the back. Absolutely, it's just ridiculous. Like I missed it by 3 meters. It wasn't loopy. It was just awful.
Yeah, so you need to do all of your crazy tasks just after doing a session of yoga.
Maybe. I mean, it certainly wouldn't do any harm, because I was in the zone, man. I was I was Steph
before
Curry.
A run, right? Before a run. Imagine sitting down for 45 minutes and doing your thing and then going for it. Maybe something else would happen. Who knows?
It did make me wonder how much performance could be improved, physical performance with, I guess it's just warming up, right?
Maybe you should try roids next week and see how they go.
Oh.
Hey, in sport news though, Carlos Alcaraz won the... Is that how you say his name? Alcaraz? He is the first Wimbledon champ that's not named Djokovic, Federer, Murray, or Nadal in the past 21 years.
What? 21?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So the last person who wasn't Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, or Murray was Leighton Hewitt in 2002.
What a stranglehold.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That is. So Djokovic lost, right?
Yeah, he did.
So he's got currently the most Grand Slams?
He's a 7-time Wimbledon champ. I don't know if he's got the most Grand Slams.
I thought he did, because the controversy we were talking about last year when he got kicked from the Australian Open. Oh, no, we hadn't started our podcast yet. Maybe we were just talking about it. Because for COVID vaccination reasons or whatever, he didn't come. Didn't come.
Australia.
And what was controversial about that is he was 1 behind Nadal. Maybe he was even.
Okay.
Maybe he was even. And then Nadal went on to win it when he hasn't won too many. So I think he went up by 2. And Djokovic has won the Australian Open the last 7 times or something. So it's almost guaranteed. So it was potentially stuffing up the overall standings of all time. But I think Djokovic has got it, which I think is probably deserved.
Yeah, okay.
Of all time. Okay, I'm just going to confirm.
Yeah, but they're just badasses.
Okay. I want a quick answer on this. List of Grand Slams. Yeah, okay. So Djokovic is on 23, Nadal's on 22. So Djokovic would have liked that one just to extend his reign of terror.
Yeah, well, maybe Nadal's done as well,
Yeah, I think
it could be the end of the dynasty, boys. You know.
Well, the French Open is his absolute bitch.
Totally.
He has. Where's the winners of this? Okay, so he's won. He's won
22.
Times.
Yeah, he's won 22 Grand Slams and 14 of them were French Open. Yeah.
He's not even. Can you even consider him like the GOAT? Lovingham. Can you even consider him the GOAT if he just wins one? He's the clay GOAT, right? But that's it. Like undisputed. I mean, who's next? So the next is on 4, a dude from the 20s. Oh no, that's the era. Sorry, that's amateur era. Don't listen to me. Hey, so Oppenheimer, I want to go. I think we should go. It comes out on Thursday.
Yeah. So you want to go this weekend, don't you?
Yeah, I want to go Saturday night.
So you mentioned earlier that, like, you know how like the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer have come out at the same time?
Double header.
No. Although I did see that stuff about how they were each going to watch each other's movie. Like Margot Robbie was going to go see Oppenheimer and Murphy was going to go see Barbie, right? Okay. Same weekend.
The stars actually just very good. The stars walked out of the Oppenheimer premiere because of the strike in solidarity with the actors' strike. Yeah,
that's nice.
It's a side note.
But it's a pretty funny thing, isn't it? I've never seen a more blokey and a more girly movie come out at the same time, where they've gone, look, there's a clear option.
They're catering for both demographics, you think?
Yeah, like if you're a single guy, you're not going to the Barbie movie. And if you're a single lady, you're not going to Oppenheimer, right?
Wouldn't have thought so, no.
Although I'm generalizing there. There's a whole bunch of ladies who are really into nukes. And there's a whole bunch of blokes that are, you know, like would love to watch the Barbie movie, right?
There could be some ladies that just love Christopher Nolan movies.
Yep. And there could be some blokes that want to see how Ryan Gosling goes as Ken. And look, the movie could be great. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I actually think it won't be the worst. I just think that you can't.
What do you think it's going to be, like a Truman Show thing where she's going to discover the real world or something? What do you think it is?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It'll be like an Alice in Wonderland type thing, but in reverse.
Yeah, okay. Not Toy Story, right? It's not Toy Story.
No, I don't really remember.
No one's going to be playing with the Barbies, is what I'm saying. I think the Barbies are just characters.
Well, there's also another, what do you call it, trailer for Dune II.
Yeah, right.
There's a second one, which also looks pretty cool. But it reminds me of Oppenheimer only because, they've talked about also, so you're right, I've looked into this now. So the Dune 1 and Dune 2 are just both the part A and part B of the first Dune book.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic because the Dune movie in 1984 was the whole book, and that's why I felt like it was getting speed run.
Right.
And it's awful. It's just awful. They're just trying to fit too much in.
Yes.
So this Dune 2 is coming out, and it's part 1B of the book.
When does that come out?
End of the year. They're doing the Christmas, targeting the Christmas market.
Yeah, fair call.
And there is talk of, apparently it's likely that they're going to do the second Dune book as its own movie. So basically make a trilogy out of the first 2 books.
Got it.
Which is interesting because the second Dune book starts to get pretty weird. There's 6 Dune books in total.
Do you reckon they'll get them all done?
I don't think so because it gets so weird that I don't even think you'll believe me. I don't know enough about it. Yeah, you should watch a thing on YouTube. Like it'll be 10 minutes where it summarizes the 6 Dune books.
But do I want to do that if I want to see the movies? Do I want to know the full story if I'm going to go see the movies?
You kind of forget it a little bit.
I know what you're saying. But I'm a weird guy like that. Sometimes if I'm going to go see a movie, I won't watch a trailer because I'm not going to see the movie. I don't want to watch a trailer.
I won't tell you this because I don't want it to be a spoiler. And I think it is potentially a spoiler. So I don't know why I'm saying this right now, because now I cannot tell you. But it's not. It's more just something. It's not like a thing that happens. It's just like
I get it. The way that
it's just the way it is.
The story
it's just
gets fucking weird. Yeah.
And
but I'm up for that, and I think the public are up for a weird story. They've just got to do whatever
the
they got to do to make it work.
I think it's hard to do a weird story. It gets so sci-fi and weird that it gets difficult to do it. It's almost, I don't want it to be a Dune 1984 where we don't have the tech to do it right.
Sure.
In the second Dune book, actually, I feel like it's going to be spoilers because the movie's going to come out now. So I don't think I can.
We won't go there today.
No, won't. I'll maybe tell you during the Oppenheimer.
Yeah. We can do that. But even just in the first Dune, in the movie, the one that came out recently, they talked about these dudes who can, use the drug spice to perceive fucking time so they can safely space travel. Right? Yeah. They're getting all drugged up so that they can fly, so they can time travel through space. Yeah. That's pretty fucking weird, dude. So I can understand it getting weirder, if that makes sense. If I'm making any sense there.
It's so weird how the spice only comes from one planet in the whole universe.
Yeah, exactly. All they need to do is find one more planet and they'll be like, sure, good.
Or just export some of the conditions, or like terraform another planet. Like they've got like unlimited resources, it seems. They've got intergalactic empires.
Intergalactic money.
Yeah, intergalactic money, yeah.
That's all we have time for.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week, though. Hit us up on the email, vacuousperspective@mail.com. Pretty sure that thing that fell was a rocket, but we'll find out. We'll know by next week, I guess.
Cool.